Yes, we have a motorcycle accident. We are on Highway 31 in Athens, just across from the Shell station.
It was a horrible wreck. The collision in March between a motorcycle and a car on Highway 31, right in the heart of the East Texas town of Athens. Motorcyclist Dustin Esmond, the 26-year-old, was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. He was already dead. His mom remembers arriving at the emergency room.
I just froze. I just stopped. I don't know if it was thinking, if I don't go in there, it's not true. When she opened the door and she pushed the curtains back, I could just see him lying there.
It's horrible enough for a mom or a dad to bury their only child, but the aftermath of this tragedy brings us yet another case of family injustice. Deborah and Dwight Esmond have been divorced for 25 years, since Dustin was just 1. The anger still runs deep, and what happened that March day in Athens has only made it worse. Deborah says her ex tried to stop her from even seeing her dead son at the hospital.
For one thing, he called up to the hospital. He told the hospital charge nurse that I had left them 23 years ago and had not had contact with my son.
Dustin didn't leave much behind, but a fight broke out nonetheless, even over where he would be buried. Deborah wanted to buy new burial plots at the Magnolia Cemetery here in Dayton, just 2 miles from where her ex lived. She lives 45 minutes away in Spring. Seemed reasonable.
So I thought, Dayton, that makes perfect sense to me. You know, Dustin grew up there from school, and that's where his dad lives, and his grandparents are over there all the time, so we can go by and visit and make sure it's taken care of.
But her ex-husband insisted Dustin be buried much farther away from his mom, almost 2 hours away, in his family plot in Beaumont. And that's when Deborah went to court, asking for help from probate judge Jason Cox.
We ended up in Harris County, and the Harris County judge asked me, he said, will you get a fair trial if I put this back in Liberty County? I said, there is no way that I will get a fair hearing out of this in any form or fashion.
That's because her ex was the longtime game warden in Liberty County. Big city folks may not appreciate how connected a job that is in a rural county. But that didn't stop Judge Cox from punting the legal fight anyway to Liberty County, to the court at law. Judge Tommy Chambers presiding.
My first thought is, there's no way. I mean, you know, and my attorneys agreed.
And Deborah says that's when she knew she was in real trouble.
They have known each other for 30 years. Whenever I was married to Dwight, they fished together.
It's not shocking that a judge in small towns sometimes knows the folks involved in a legal fight, but the relationship should at the very least be disclosed. The State Judicial Conduct Commission, which is pretty worthless in my opinion, doesn't require judges to recuse because they're fishing buddies with someone in their court. But they really shouldn't have to. It's the appearance that matters, and Judge Chambers, he should know that. To get Chambers off the case, Deborah's attorney asked that a statutory probate judge be appointed instead, but the motion was denied, and Chambers heard the case, and Deborah says that meant giving Dwight Esmond pretty much everything he asked for.
Dwight got the rights to be the executor of my son's estate. So he got to pick where my son was buried. He got to pick what my son was buried in, what the casket was. He got every right that you can imagine. I had no say-so in anything.
And you believe this was because of the relationship between your ex-husband and the judge?
Oh, absolutely, I do. There's no doubt in my mind. Just the friendship that they had developed over the years with him being a game warden. You know, I know of the fishing trips, hunting trips.
Records we got from the Parks and Wildlife show Dwight Esmond was fired from his job as Liberty County game warden back in 2004. He was caught allegedly using sick time to work other jobs. We can't tell you if Dwight and Judge Chambers have remained fishing buddies. Neither man will talk to us. But to Deborah, some of the damage had already been done and can't be repaired. Her son is now buried so far from her.
But I didn't even get a fair shake.
Dwight's lawyer responded by email, claiming Dustin, quote, had no relationship with his mother due to her conduct months prior to his passing. We have a picture of Deborah and Dustin taken a year before his death. And here's another one, taken last November. There are smiles. It was just 4 months before that tragic wreck in Athens.
I want him to be sanctioned.
Deborah now has to go to court again to argue about who's getting insurance money. But she's already filed this complaint against Judge Chambers with the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, claiming, quote, due to a biased and prejudiced relationship between Judge Chambers and Esmond, Judge Chambers should have stepped down.
Everything that he did is abuse of power.
Will Judge Chambers step aside? Stay tuned.